4, 3, 2, 1. Buckle your seatbelt. Batten down the hatches. Coming to you live from the Blazar Podcast Studios in Space City, Texas. It's time once again for the Capital Catalyst Show, the podcast for entrepreneurs to learn the secrets of attracting, raising, and closing capital from high net worth investors. Dedicated to your success, this is the Capital Catalyst Show. Now here's your host, Brad Blazar.
Hey, welcome back, listeners. It's Brad Blazar, the host of the Capital Catalyst Show, where we talk raising capital, investing in things like real estate, business acquisitions, and so much more. The whole premise behind the show is so many people have a dream and a desire to do something bigger in life, and oftentimes those dreams and desires get put aside. They get diminished, and it all comes down to just one thing. It's never the fear or the limiting belief. It's just due to a lack of money. And so here on the Capital Catalyst Show today, what we're going to talk about is leveraging OPM to do bigger things in life. My guest today happens to be a wonderful entrepreneur that transitioned out of a career in dentistry and is now actually raising capital and investing in things like real estate. And so I'd like to welcome to our show today, Kevin Choi. Kevin, welcome. How are you?
Hi, very well. Thanks so much for inviting me today. I'm doing well. I'm more blessed than what I deserve. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, that is great. It's great to have you as a guest on our wonderful show today. You know, what I always like to start with is how people transitioned from a career to what they're doing now, which is, of course, for you, investing in real estate. Obviously, you were very successful in a prior career. But can you maybe share your story in a couple of minutes so that our audience gets the chance to know you better?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a recovering dentist. I was a dentist in my past life, and I've been investing in developing commercial real estate for the past 15 years. And I'm also proud, like private pilot, as you can see, maybe background. One of your listeners can maybe see or not. But to tell my background, I grew up in South Korea. I came to the United States when I was junior high, when I was 15 years old. And my family moved from Seoul to New York City, hoping for the American dream and a better education. And I've been growing up from family of 5, 2 older sisters. I'm sure most of the listeners have read the Purple Book, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I'm a classic Korean version of a Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've been, my dad was, I have a highest respect for my father. He graduated from Seoul National University with a law degree, which is equivalent to like a graduating from Harvard Law School in South Korea. He was an elite of the elites and worked as one of the highest ranked government official in South Korea. And our parents had a tough time adjusting to the United States because they had to start from the bottom, and as most immigrants do, and they had to work day and nights, whatever they could do to put the food on the table. It was so hard for my parents because they did not speak much of English and worked as a grocery cleaner, typical business owners at the time, and as a Korean immigrants do. And it was a drastically different kind of work than what he was used to. And my family had to struggle, financially because he could not work for someone or know how to operate business, right? So even though he was one of the most brilliant men I know in the planet Earth, he could not start a business because he too often, many times, got into notion of analysis paralysis, right? Yep. So we basically lost everything, and my parents had to move back to my old country, and I was by myself with no family since college and until I got married. And I'm now happily married with my beautiful wife, Kelly, for 20 years. And I have a 16-year-old teenager boy, Caleb, who hopes to go to the Air Force Academy as a career. But I walked in the path of becoming a doctor, as a dentist, because I was told by my parents that that was the right thing to do, right? Otherwise, you're a loser. And then I was pretty good dentist, and I like doing oral surgery, so I did a lot of surgeries, such as wisdom teeth and implant surgeries, wisdom teeth extractions, sometimes 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. And my nickname was a fast gun from the East because most of the time I was able to do surgery in most difficult wisdom teeth surgeries within 5 minutes, where most of the dentists was probably taking 32 minutes to an hour, right? So anyway, even though I enjoyed it, I was extremely hard work because it was, working surgeries all day, people's saliva get on my face and blood gets sprayed on my face, which was not so fun, right? And then in the morning, the hardest part is when I get in the morning, I had hands could not open. It was because I had both carpal tunnel syndromes on my face, on my hands. So I could not really open my hands, and it's so painful so that I could not even put my surgical gloves on. And every week I had to go see a chiropractor or, and massage therapist to relieve pain on my hands. Otherwise, I could not work.
Mm.
So, and here I am, when I had my offices, I got so busy and then I could not have lunches, and where all of my receptionists and dental assistant got their lunches. And then they were taking their time for a break, but I was constantly working with patients. And I realized that I was working the hardest and getting paid the last, after all the expenses are paid every month. And it's such as like payroll, lab bills and supplies, and and don't forget you have to pay Uncle Sam. He needs to, his share of the cut, right? So if it's like you basically read the book four cash flow quadrants, and as a self-employed owner, you have paid the highest amount of taxes, like 50-60%.
Right.
So yeah, and there was a lot of pressure because I had to pay all this bill, and also I had like $250,000 in student loan debt because I went to most expensive dental school, NYU, and there are a lot. It is still a lot of money today, but about 20 years ago, it was a lot. I felt like I had a $2.5 million in student loan debt, so it was a lot of pressure for me. So anyway, I was I was up one night and reading a book, and I found the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and if I felt like I was hit by lightning, I started to study the real estate investing books. Back then, there was no like a YouTube, right? Everything was paper, manual, and books and CDs. So I have taught myself how to buy commercial real estate. So since then, I bought my first commercial real estate back in 2005, and I bought a building from an architect office and converted to medical offices. I put my first dental office and sold it for 3 times more than what I bought it for in 2 years. So back then, and since then, I never looked back. Hey, this is something. A light bulb went off, and then this is something I could do, and I so much enjoyed it, and I could eat my lunches.
Yep. I think what you realized is, like a lot of people, you were exchanging your time for money. And
Absolutely.
in life, time is the most valuable thing we have. It's what we are able to use to enjoy time with family and friends, and of course, have our financial freedom. And certainly working as a dentist, they're all day leaning over people. I know from talking to you before, obviously the back problems where you're hunched over all long, now you obviously are living a much better quality of life for yourself and for your family. You can be present. You have the freedom to do things when you choose to do them with the people you desire to do them with. And so that's the beauty, everybody that's listening, about mastering this game that we call OPM, the OPM game. And certainly in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, who I've met before, he says one of the key principles in creating freedom, and more importantly, creating legacy wealth, is to do it with the help of other people. You get there faster. You're also able to get there without putting your own money at risk, which certainly is something that a lot of people do. I'm not saying that you can't get wealthy on your own, but why risk your own money when you can get investors to support what you're doing and share some of the rewards and some of the upside with them? and build a nice Rolodex or a nice database of investors that will allow you to scale and over time do bigger and bigger deals. So certainly congratulations for cracking the code and investing very successfully into commercial real estate. And from there, with investor capital, as I like to say, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
Kevin, let me ask, on this journey for you, where you started in medicine, you realized that you were working long hours. It was a grind. I'm sure both emotionally, as you said, financially, you're always the last one to get paid when you're a business owner. What was it other than that, maybe, that piqued your interest, or maybe better yet, a better question is, what hurdles did you have in front of you that you've now overcome that allowed you to successfully move from dentistry to now being a real estate investor?
So I've been investing in commercial real estate, and the light bulb went off when I bought and how I can value add the property, right? It's all about investment vehicle, but a lot of people started off doing like a residential flips, something like that. That's also work. But I was able to do right now, I'm focusing on unique niche of the real estate, commercial real estate, which is added value adding using our business model where we actually provide great spaces for, we call it solopreneurs, where people will come in and we actually divide the spaces to like 25 to 35 different spaces to in a very nice location, Class A type of product we provide to them, so they can actually live their livelihood they deserve, and then by doing that, we add value to our tenants. And beauty of that is business is also we diversify the risk of a commercial real estate, where if you have like 10,000 square feet and we have 5,000 square feet vacant, now you have 50% occupancy, where this business you divide it to so many like 25 to 30 different tenants, and everybody's doing something else, and then we diversify risk. And not only that, you can increase the value of the real estate by doing that.
I love it. So your I guess niche is something that most people are not doing. We see a lot of people in multifamily. We see a lot of people that are buying shopping centers. You've actually done something I think even better, where you figured out a way to take a large space, subdivide it up, and obviously bring in many tenants to diversify the income, but also probably generate more income because of the model. It's almost like the short-term rental or the Airbnb, where people have cracked the code and said, well, if I buy this house and I rent it to a family, I might be able to rent that house for $2,500 a month on a long-term rental. But right. If I'm renting by the night and I'm able to rent it like a hotel, now I can take that same property and I can generate maybe $8,000. Same house, same location, just a little different model. And so I love what you've been able to do using a little different model in commercial real estate and having tremendous success with it. As you've moved forward and as you've, continued to invest, have you found it challenging to raise capital from investors? What's been the biggest struggle or maybe the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome as you've tried to bring investors into this?
Well, I don't think it's challenges. I mean, this model is still under the radar. It's pretty new to the industry. I think this model has been around, I would say probably less than 10 years. And there's only like probably 5 to 6 operators in the space. And we consider ourselves like a Ritz-Carlton of the space. And we go to see other sound studios that look like a Motel 6. I mean, not to put aside but other businesses, but we are actually offer more Class A type of product, and so that otherwise this will not be reachable to these solopreneurs or small business owners. We are in one of the best locations of a high income neighborhood, and it will be too costly to do a TI and also do a build out. And the rent will be too high. So each one it will release out for anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 per month, and each hairstylist can make that within a week. So for them is win-win. They just come and start their generating revenue within a week, and then everything else is just take home. So and then beauty of this business, they don't have to work 9 to 5 job. They can just come in whenever they want to work and see their clients, and they can leave. And this is a service-oriented business, so Amazon cannot never take over this type of business. So this is, and I have my wife, and if you tell your wife not to get beauty services, there's gonna be a war in your household.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this business is here to stay, and I think we're creating a value for our tenants, and also a value for increasing the commercial property and our future investors. So, I think it's win-win overall.
I love that. Knowing what you know now and all of the successes that you've had investing in real estate, doing what you've done, what message would you share perhaps to a younger Kevin Choi that may have put you further along or may have allowed you to have greater success if maybe you had done something a little differently? Because there's a lot of people out there, I believe, that are going to be listening to this podcast that, are stuck. They've got this limiting belief that they can't do something. And they're fearful of taking that first step. And I would imagine for somebody like yourself that actually came from a completely different country to the United States, even though we always hear that the United States is the land of opportunity. I think that where you are today can certainly help a lot of people that are not moving forward, not getting where they ultimately want to be. So knowing what you know today, what would you share to our listening audience, or maybe what would you share to a younger version of Kevin Choi that I think can really help people?
Yeah, I was really struggling, financially because of my family situation, and I had no money. And I remember one day, I was trying to go to ATM machine, and I could not get the money. I was like, what's going on? And I only have like less than $20. Minimum was $20. So I totally broke, and then I had a $250,000 in student loan debt. So I was struggling financially, but when I now look back, I think that the way people can be very successful is you offer more value to other people, to help other people. Then that's how it becomes scaled up. You provide opportunity, you provide value for other people, automatically people see that the value, and you will be successful.
I think that is a very, very true point. It's leading with value first, and then obviously building that relationship, because people tend to invest with others that they know, like, and trust. And I think one other problem that a lot of people face is they're stuck in this mindset of inactivity because they're trying to be perfect before they start talking to people. I got to have my website. I got to have my pitch deck. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have all the right things. And that's not really true. I think that, you need to just commit to taking action and moving forward in this process while you're sometimes doing many of these other things, because we can all be guilty of what I call paralysis analysis. It's overanalyzing something to the extent that it immobilizes you, and it doesn't allow you to actually move forward and make any progress. And so I think that was a very, very good point that was well made. What's next for you on the horizon, Kevin? You've been successful. What do you see in your future over the next couple of years as it relates to what you're doing?
So we're looking to expand our business to 250 locations, mostly in southern part of the United States, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and Florida. So we're looking to expand our realize that more we do this, and we actually help other small business owners, and we also help our investors and also doctors and dentists or engineers who's getting older, they're not getting younger. And a lot of friends, my dentist friend looked at me like, well, back maybe 10, 15 years ago, what are you doing? You're supposed to be a dentist. And now they see, like, they look at me like a hero now, right? So as their body gets older, they cannot function, and they're not getting, as used to see many patients as they could see maybe 10, 15 years ago. So we provide the opportunity for other like that professional are looking to offer their investments and help. This is a win-win-win model, and I think it's truly help everybody who's involved. Like our name says, Bella Vie, which is a beautiful life in French.
Would you say that a large percentage of the people that are investing with you come from the medical industry, dentists, other physicians, that represents a large part of the people that you've helped? Because I believe that there are certainly riches and niches, and your niche is obviously working with physicians. Other people might be, no, all my investors are women. I'm a women entrepreneur, so I'm going to focus on getting women as investors. But I think that, if you can become very skilled and somewhat of an expert, where, like you said, you're kind of recognized as the hero, right? You're supposed to be a dentist, and now you're a successful real estate entrepreneur. The real interesting thing that I find as people go through different cycles or different journeys in life is it's sometimes hard to go to people and ask them to invest, because they know you as one person that they've grown up with, and I can imagine when you got started, the conversation with a lot of people might have been, what do you know about investing in real estate? You're a dentist, and so it took time to build the trust and transition from what you once were doing to what you're doing now, which is simply the natural progression of how we all evolve as human beings into new career paths or into new journeys, where as time passes, how people look at us and how people view us certainly changes for the better. But congratulations certainly to you for cracking and breaking the code of becoming a capital catalyst and an entrepreneur that's now doing much, much bigger things in life. If people are listening and they want to learn more about potentially partnering with you or potentially connecting, maybe even investing or learning more about the strategy of taking these commercial properties and subdividing them up and creating salons and spaces that people can rent, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, you can reach us by beautifullifefund.com.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll put that actually in the podcast notes for everybody with a little link to Dr. Choi's website, so that if you do want to reach out and you do want to connect and potentially take a look at the opportunities, everybody, you can certainly do that. Kevin, I want to thank you once again for being a great guest. This is the host of the Capital Catalyst Show, Brad Blazar, saying dial in, like our episodes, become a subscriber, and more importantly, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody, and thanks again.
Thank you, Brad. It was wonderful. Thank you. Have a good day.
You've been listening to the Capital Catalyst Show with Brad Blazar, the best place for entrepreneurs interested in doing something big in life, having considerably less stress, and a more balanced life. Go to bradblazar.com for more ways to accelerate your success.